to stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Call this meeting of the Town of Plattsburgh Town Board to order for March 17th. Roll call, please.
Bernie Bass.
Here.
Thomas Wood.
Here.
Martin Manick.
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Here.
Gerard Bernadette.
Here.
James Coffey.
Here.
Rick Collins.
Resolution 94, approving the minutes of the previous meeting.
Resolved that the minutes of March 3rd and March 10th, 2014 be approved and the reading of the minutes be dispensed.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Bernadette, second.
Second.
Mr. Cashman, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood.
Yes.
Martin Manick.
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes.
Gerard Bernadette.
Yes.
Bernie Bass.
Yes, the resolution carries. And at this point, I think I'd like to stop. We have a lot of green being worn out here today, which is nice. And I don't know if they're green or not, but I think Ms. Pangborn has some special certificates.
Yes, we do. Good evening. My name is Erin Pangborn, and I am the Recreation Program Coordinator for the town. We finished our winter basketball program in February, and would like to recognize several participants for their outstanding commitment and sportsmanship throughout the season. Overall, our whole winter season was a success, with all of our participants showing good sportsmanship and positive behaviors. However, we would like to acknowledge those players who have been positive role models for their fellow teammates and opponents. Our Most Dedicated Player Award goes to individuals who demonstrate these qualities as well as go beyond what we ask of them. The following players lead by example on and off the court, and that is why we feel these participants are highly deserving of the Most Dedicated Award. We hope that this will reinforce positive behavior for all participants in the future. We are very proud that these kids are a part of our program. All right, when I call out your name, I'm just going to have you come up. You'll get your certificate, and don't forget to look over at Ricky and the camera. From our Cumberland Head 3rd and 4th grade girls basketball team, Cecilia Labarge. From our Cumberland Head 5th and 6th grade girls basketball team, Zoe Danville. From our Cumberland Head 3rd and 4th grade boys basketball team, Andrew Van Natten. And unable to be here tonight from our Cumberland Head 5th and 6th grade boys basketball team, Riley Siraj. Congratulations to the 2014 Most Dedicated Awards recipients.
Thank you very much.
It's too cool.
Thank you to all of you for coming out, for being there, for supporting the youngsters. As I watch them come up, I don't believe any of them have their license yet, so you've probably been driving them back and forth, and it does take time with work and everything, so we appreciate it. I know you're doing it for all the right reasons, and awards like this will continue to follow these youngsters, I'm sure. We usually say now, everybody go to Harrigan's and get an ice cream, but it's the wrong season, so, and we believe there's going to be school tomorrow still, so I'll let you get out a little before we continue. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
All right.
You know, the attention at some point.
Resolution 95, abstract 3B.
Resolved that the abstract of audit claims 3B-14, 2983 and 2990 for $26,883.71, and abstract 3B-14, 337 to 498 for $317,487.05, and abstract 3B-14, 106 to 127 prepays in the amount of $241,618.22 can be received as reviewed by the audit committee and the supervisor hereby authorized to pay set up.
A motion.
So moved.
Mr. Cashman, second.
Second.
Mr. Renner, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood?
Yes.
Mark Manac?
Yes.
Michael Cassidy?
Yes.
Art Linda?
Yes.
Ernie Beth?
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 96, Codes and Zoning Department monthly report.
Resolved to receive and place on file a report from Stephen Limhoff, Code Enforcement Officer for the month of February 2014.
Motion. Mr. Wood, second. Mr. Mannix, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood?
Yes.
Mark Manac?
Yes.
Michael Cassidy?
Yes.
Gerard Rendez?
Yes.
Ernie Beth?
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 97, Highway Superintendent's monthly report.
Resolved to receive and place on file a report from James Wood, Superintendent of Highways for the month of February 2014.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Wood, second.
Second.
Mr. Renner, any discussion?
Just to point out that because of the weather, they had to plow a couple of weekends, and one particular one, they were running for about 30 hours straight. So they've done a fantastic job, and they put in a lot of hours. But we have to consider at that point that there's going to be overtime, and that does affect budgets and does affect what we need to pay and how we have to move our money around.
And unfortunately, even, this weekend, we didn't have any fresh snow, but with the winds, Cumberland had especially, they were out there knocking those snow drifts down. So you're right, it'll be an interesting budget with highway, I'm sure. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood?
Yes.
Mark Manac?
Yes.
Michael Cassidy?
Yes.
Gerard Rendez?
Yes.
Ernie Beth?
Yes, resolution carries. One other thing I should mention, relative to the highway and the plowing and so on. Every now and then I get someone gives a call, they come into the office, they're concerned with the plowing on, for example, Route 3. Just because the roads are in the town doesn't necessarily mean they're town roads. We have state roads, county roads, and so on. And that's important to know, because sometimes there are concerns with the job and what's being done. The other thing, there are times that it may appear to a homeowner that, why is the plow out there throwing sand? There was hardly anything to be sanded. But when we get a call that there are icy conditions, and it is that time of year again, but there's a lot of, there is some melting even on the colder days, and it does freeze at night. If there's an icy area, they're going to get out there. Safety is number one. It's late in the year for it to happen, but the town also is very good, and I don't think that it's really well known that if indeed we are responsible for a mailbox being adjusted, we're very good. There's no law, there's no regulation, but the highway department's very good to at least go out, give the property owner a temporary box until they can get at it in the spring. So it's, all they have to do is let the highway know, and they will get out there. So, important announcement. Resolution 98, Parks and Recreation Department monthly report.
Resolved to receive and place on file a report from Melanie Defiant, Recreation and Youth Service Director for the month of January and February 2014.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Cashman, second Mr. Mannix. Any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes.
Gerard Bernadette.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 99, Planning Department monthly report.
Resolved to receive and place on file a report from Phil Von Bargen, Planning and Engineering Department Head for the month of March 2014.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Wood, second.
Second.
Mr. Mannix, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes.
Gerard Bernadette.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 100, Town Clerk's monthly report.
Resolved to receive and place on file a report from Rick Collins, Town Clerk, for the month of February 2014.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Renadette, second.
Second.
Mr. Mannix, any discussion? Rick, did you want to make note about the licensing being back up?
We are back in good graces with the Department of Conservation. Now we are able to reissue or issue again hunting, fishing, trapping, any kind of license that they have. So, at a reduced rate, I might add.
Good. As April 1st, even though it doesn't feel
Trout.
like it's there,
April 1st is opening for trout season.
I think the trout fishermen will be bouncing their worm off the side of the ice.
Under the ice, at the present time, yes, that's what it looks like.
But they're skillful, they can do it. So
We're in good graces now, so we're up and running.
come and get your sporting licenses. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes.
Gerard Bernadette.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 101, Water Wastewater Department's monthly report.
Resolved to receive and place on file a report from Scott Stoddard, Water and Wastewater Department Director for the month of February 2014.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Wood, second.
Second.
Mr. Mannix, any discussion?
I just want to point out that it's good that the report that they're having a list of capital projects and they're ongoing, where they are they're standing currently. I think that's good to have, and everybody can keep track of it.
I think also with the highway sometimes it's easier to see the problem when it's in the roadway. But we've had a very tough winter as far as water and sewer situations are concerned, and they've done a great job. They're out there at all hours making sure that system is working and the services are being rendered. They're doing a good job. They really are.
Any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes.
Gerard Bernadette.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 102, request to advertise for a snowplow equipment and dump body for the Highway Department.
Whereas James Wood, Highway Superintendent, has met with the Highway Committee to discuss his request to solicit for bids for 2015 plow and equipment and dump body. So whereas the Highway Committee has reviewed the department's needs and the proposed specification, and it is their recommendation that the request be approved. Therefore, be resolved that the town clerk is hereby authorized and directed to have an advertisement published in the Press Republican for sealed bids with non-conclusive bid form entitled Plow Equipment and Dump Body, returnable on or before April the 14th, 2015 at 3:15 p.m. Prevailing time at the Town Hall Office Complex, 151 Banker Road, Plattsburgh, New York, at which time the town clerk will publicly open the bids. And it be further resolved, specification forms for this bid may be obtained from the town clerk's office during regular business hours. And it be further resolved that the town board reserve the right to reject any and all bids offered. And it be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the finance manager and the highway superintendent.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Wood, second.
Second.
Mr. Renadette, any discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Manick,
Yes.
Michael Cashman,
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 103, request to advertise for a new 2015 tandem axle plow chassis for the highway department.
Whereas James Wood, Highway Superintendent, has met with the Highway Committee to discuss his request to solicit for bids for a 2015 tandem axle plow chassis. And whereas the Highway Committee has reviewed the department's needs and the proposed specifications and the recommendation that the request be approved. Therefore be resolved that the town clerk is hereby authorized and directed to have an advertisement published in the Press Republican for sealed bids for the non-conclusive bid form entitled 2015 Tandem Axle Plow Chassis, returnable on or before April 14, 2015, at 3 p.m. prevailing time at the Town Hall Office Complex, 151 Baker Road, Plattsburgh, New York, 12901, at which time the town clerk will publicly open the bid. And it be further resolved, specification forms for this bid may be obtained from the town clerk's office during regular business hours. And it be further resolved that the town board reserve the right to reject any and all bids offered. And it be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the finance manager and the highway superintendent.
A motion.
So moved.
Mr. Renadette, second.
Second.
Mr. Wood,
With the provision that it is
Discussion.
2015.
the return date, we would amend then to 2014, April 14th, 2014 at 3 p.m.
Seems like it's
It
2000.
was read as 15.
It should be for 2014.
14.
Yeah.
Right, it was read as 15.
Right.
So we're going to amend that to
That's the way
14.
it was,
Well, mine said 12, so.
oh.
As was mine.
Well,
I'm pretty sure it's not
12 to
2012.
15,
And your resolution
because the
says
other one was
13.
15.
So we're going to amend that to be returned by April 14th, 3 p.m. in 2014. Mr. Renadette, Mr. Wood,
I just, yeah,
Clerk?
that's okay, but I also wonder, you've got
On the
title,
prior resolution,
same thing.
I'm looking at a similar date, April 14, 2015.
I missed that one too.
So you want them both 2000?
We want both of
Correct.
those to read
Okay.
2015.
April 14th, 2014.
14.
One at 3 p.m. and the other at 3:15.
My question was,
Correct.
are we talking about a 2015 tandem axle plow? Or
According to-
2014?
According to Mr. Wood's letter, he's talking of 2015.
So those come out now? I thought it was usually after April, but, you know.
What he's putting out.
And the bid is after April, so that may,
Well, just wondering if we should put 2014 or 15, he really doesn't need it, safe side.
he's requested 15, he has that in his note for the bid. I would say it goes, if you can't get it, we'll have to redo it. We'll have to wait. I mean, that's what he has in his letter, was 15. I would be hesitant to amend his letter.
Okay.
What did he discuss with the highway committee, 14, 15, or what?
Well, the top of the article, the top of that particular request, requests a new 2013 tandem axle.
Yeah, the resolution was titled wrong.
Right. And then in the body, it says 2015.
Right,
Right, his letter states 2015.
his letter is 2015,
Yeah,
in each case.
right.
So the title is 2015 as opposed to 13?
The title was read correctly, 2015.
Okay, because it says 13.
Yeah, because
Right. But Ricky corrected that as he went through.
Yeah.
So what we amended was the date of the bid opening to April 14, 2014 in each. And Gerard and Tom both concurred in each
Yes.
case. Is there any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Manick,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 104, letter of resignation for Ms. Miller.
We don't need to go back to 102 and adopt other than the date.
Uh,
Concern we did vote on it under a 2015 date.
We amended the opening date. Both resolutions were motioned and seconded by
Okay, I just
Mr.
want to
Wood,
make
Mr.
sure.
Rendette, and you both concur. Okay, 104, letter of resignation from Ms. Miller.
Whereas Miss Diane Miller joined the town of Plattsburgh staff in March 1983, and whereas Miss Miller has submitted her letter of resignation and retirement from the town of Plattsburgh effective October 12, 2014. Therefore, be resolved that the supervisor send a letter of congratulations on behalf of the town board, thanking Miss Miller for her dedication and years of service to the town of Plattsburgh. And it be further resolved that the town board does hereby wish to thank her for her years of service and wish Miss Miller well in her future endeavors. And it be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the finance manager and one copy be placed in her personnel file.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Renegade, second.
Second.
I'm not sure, Mr. Mannix. Any discussion?
I think it's great that we do it, but I was wondering if maybe we all sign it.
Yeah. So we have a second by the board.
That would be very good, yes. Okay, any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Mannix,
Yes.
Michael Cash.
Yes.
Gerard Rendell.
Yes.
And Bertie Bassett.
Yes, resolution's carried. Now I have to make a point to let Diane know we honored her wishes, even in passing the resolution, by staying quiet. She's a very, very humble, quiet woman and has just been adamant that there be no celebrations her last days like any other day, and she just leaves, and that's the way it is.
So what band did you get to come in for that day?
I have threatened her, and so anyway, we're having some fun with that, but she truly has given a great number of years, seen a great deal of change in the town, and, had to make changes along with it. But she has wanted it to be very quiet, so I will say no more.
Okay, well, not two bands, just one.
In that case, right, just a brass band. Resolution 105, appointment of Kevin Keane as maintenance worker 2 in the water wastewater department.
Whereas Kevin Keane began working full-time in the water and wastewater department as a maintenance worker 1 since January 2011. And whereas the director, assistant superintendent, and supervisor of the water and wastewater department have recommended Kevin Keane to be promoted to maintenance worker 2, and therefore be resolved to receive and place on file a letter dated March 3rd, 2014 from Scott Stoddard, Director of the Water and Wastewater Department, requesting the promotion of Kevin Keane as maintenance worker 2. And it be further resolved that the Town of Plattsburgh Town Board does hereby authorize the permanent appointment of Kevin Keane to a position of maintenance worker 2 as recommended at a rate of pay of $21.02, effective the first pay period following approval in accordance with the terms and conditions of the Teamster agreement currently in force, with a probationary period of 12 months effective immediately, pending final civil service approval. And it be further resolved that the supervisor is hereby authorized to sign all necessary documents for the full-time appointment, permanent appointment of Kevin Keane to the position of maintenance worker 2. And it be further resolved that a certified copy of this resolution be given to the finance manager, water and wastewater director, and a certified copy also be forwarded to Clinton County Department of Personnel for filing and approval.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Wood, second.
Second.
Mr. Mannix, any discussion?
Is it, are we still talking permanent? I brought this up before, but it's probationary period of 12 months. So we're not putting him in a permanent appointment until he finishes probationary, right?
Correct. Should not be referred to as a permanent appointment until such time as the probationary period is over.
Would you like to strike the word permanent in the second resolve, Tom?
I think that would be the trick.
Anyone have any other concerns with that? Marty, do you
It's also,
concur?
It should say
Next result.
probationary.
Would you like to change that to probationary appointment?
and that would then have to be changed on the next resolve.
Okay. Good point. I have it in the third and fourth resolve, permanent change to probationary. Any other discussion?
As long as you're correcting it, then you're gonna take that, the word out in, it's not, okay.
Thank you, Tom.
Okay, anything else? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Manick,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes.
George Renadette.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries as amended. Resolution 106, the appointment of Patrick Duhame as an alternate member of the zoning board of appeals.
Whereas the appointment of Matt Rogers as a full-time member of the zoning board of appeals has created a vacancy for an alternate on the town zoning board of appeals. And whereas Patrick Duhane, a resident of the town of Plattsburgh, is willing to serve as an alternate member of the zoning board of appeals. Therefore be resolved that as per local law number 1 of the year 1999, the town board does hereby appoint Patrick Duhane to the zoning board of appeals for a term to expire December 31st, 2014. And whereas it is be further resolved that Mr. Duhane take the oath of office within 30 days of this resolution. And it be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the board chairman, Mr. Duhane, and to Steve Imhoff, department head.
Have a motion.
So moved.
Mr. Cashman, second.
Second.
Mr. Mannix, any discussion?
It's, the date is correct, you can check that.
Yes, we,
I know we talked about that.
yep,
Just-
following our work session, we went back, and it was a term that ended this year, so it only goes to the end of this year.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Martin Manick,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes.
Gerard Renadette.
Yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. Resolution 107, value payment services agreement for utility billing.
Whereas some local residents of the town of Plattsburgh have expressed a desire to pay their utility bills using either a credit card or a debit card. And whereas the use of credit cards offered by a number of advantages over traditional forms of payment, allowing town residents the convenience to make transitions or transactions that might otherwise not be possible. And whereas the town of Plattsburgh Town Board has a desire to improve services, including the processing of credit cards or debit cards or electronic checks for payments associated with utility bills. And whereas the town receiver of taxes has recommended that the town board engage the use of value payment service and recommends that the town board enter into an agreement with them. Therefore be resolved that after review and recommendation by the town attorney, the town supervisor is hereby authorized on behalf of the town of Plattsburgh to execute the attached value payment system agreement together with any and all documents necessary to complete the application process. And it be further resolved that a copy of this resolution be given to the Director of Water and Wastewater Department, the Receiver of Taxes, and the Town Finance Manager.
Have a motion.
For the purpose of discussion, I'll move this.
Mr. Renadette, second.
For the purpose of discussion, I'll second it.
Mr. Cashman.
There were several concerns that were brought up by the town attorney, and I know that there's some hesitation on some of the board members' part to move forward on this. I think that it's been demonstrated that this service has been used for quite some time in the past by the receiver's office. I think that we can move forward, and in the interim, we can also negotiate away some of the concerns that the attorney has had. I would like to just say that we move forward with this, probably with wording in there that says upon the approval of the town attorney as to concerns that were raised.
We do have that in first resolve.
Thank you.
Excuse me?
I didn't see.
Was it read?
After review and recommendation by the town attorney.
Okay.
Yep.
And that reads the same to me. I'm also aware of the specific concerns, and, you know, I'm not gonna sign anything until that's resolved.
Well, I'm concerned about the repercussions of who's responsible for things, and you mentioned that in your first.
The other problem is the venue. I think they mentioned the problem anytime you run to litigation, in this case, they say you litigated in Tennessee. So then you hire a Tennessee attorney, you apply your witnesses,
Yeah,
quite a deal.
yeah, I can't vote for that.
And there was one thought passed that insurance, we had insurance that would cover. You cannot assume an obligation in a contract by giving up a right that you have contractually, and by giving up that right, you assume liabilities. Your insurance won't step in and pick up those liabilities. Okay, and so, you know, one of the other things that we should do is, in addition to having the attorney look at that contract, we should have our insurance agent look at that contract. I'm aware of any number of instances where certain clauses, you know, the provider of the contract can be asked to delete those clauses from the contract, and they may do that. And we may well go back to them and say, look, we want to do business with you, but we want that taken out, that it will take place, you know, in Tennessee, or we want this taken out, or we want.
It's my understanding that this is something Jackie's been doing for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
Should we in effect tell her that with concerns raised, we no longer want her to carry on that practice until this is settled?
Well,
We want her to stop using the value?
Well, she indicated to me that the risk level was quite low. My opinion would be, given there aren't a tremendous number of people using this currently, and I don't see a huge risk at this stage. I think we could continue and then see if we can resolve those other issues. That'd be my thought.
one might argue that what she's doing now versus this is a higher risk with taxes versus, if it's settled.
Yeah.
You know, not to say that we shouldn't articulate an agreement that's more in the favor of the town, which I think is the directive and, under the guise of this resolution.
And that could certainly be part of the negotiation that could take place.
But I'm assuming that the contract for the taxes is the same.
I would assume so, I don't know. I mean, the contract I looked at had those three provisions where they didn't want to warranty anything, particularly what they call merchantability. Merchantability means simply you buy a tennis ball, presumably it will bounce. You know, that it doesn't mean it's a great tennis ball. They said no merchantability, and they also limited their damages in such a way that, and then they said, by the way, if you want to try it, come on down to Tennessee. So,
You asked them, should we ask them for round-trip tickets so we could, out of the Plattsburgh airport?
but that's the problem you have, particularly with cruise liners in many instances. You know, you go out of, you live in Seattle, Washington, you take the trip out of Fort Lauderdale, and it's one of the cruises from hell, and then you're supposed to go down to Fort Lauderdale and litigate it, and just can't do it, you know, just unless it's a huge loss.
So you're going to provide language that we can attach to it.
Well, I'm going to wait till she comes back. Sometimes companies say, and many companies say, no, look, we're located in Tennessee, and if you litigate, it can be litigated in Tennessee. If you don't want it, you don't have to. So I always prefer arbitration in the agreement because arbitration is simple, it's cheap, it's you can't appeal it, it's done, it's, you know. But I'm going to wait till I think she was going to give them a call and see, get their feeling on it, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, I don't know.
I think we're taking responsibility off the town board by passing it in advance.
I think we've got to condition appropriately.
Well, she should be back. I mean, we're doing it now. She should be back with her comments, hopefully by the end of the week. The window's pretty small.
Right.
The window's small because,
You're only talking 3 or 4 days.
Well, and there's another window too, that she had presented to us early to mid-April, in the sense of being able to get this off the ground, or it won't be delayed for a while. And that's not to say that we can't wait for a longer period of time, but just to put, the timetable in perspective.
Well, like I said, I think we'll know by the end of the week. If they say no, that's the way we do business, and then we'll have to just judge our risk level and our risk tolerance. And many companies do, you can't always dictate the terms. Many companies say, look, if you want to sue us, you're going to have to sue us for our place of business. It's not terribly unreasonable, except it doesn't work very well for us.
if it's going to be, we're going to have all that information within 3 or 4 days, and I move to table resolution.
Well, I don't know, well, I'm saying she's certainly able, it's not a tricky thing to give them a phone call and ask them, say, would you consider making a modification? If they say no, then you can make the decision after that.
You want to make an amendment to put this into the insurance? Have your insurance carrier look at it along with
I've made a note of that, but I think right now I just heard a motion by Councilor Wood to table. So I have to entertain that, first of all. Is there a second to the motion to table? I'll ask one more time, is there a second to the motion to table? If not, we will continue the discussion. And I hear what you're saying, Tom, I'm very sensitive to that as well. The bottom line is, I'm not going to sign anything, and nothing will happen until I sign it, if you pass this, until we get all the approvals and assurances. If you want, even if we get all the approvals and assurances that are satisfying these questions tomorrow, I can still hold anything off until I give you a report on Monday. Because you passed it doesn't mean it's got to be executed.
But I don't understand what the rush is that it has to be passed today. Is there some kind of deadline on this or something?
There probably isn't, other than, until we got the feedback. This is a company that we had experience with, and we believe many others have. And we probably would find similar language with any company. There are no local companies that, for lack of better phrasing, underwrite these kinds of transactions anyway. So if you're going to have the online, that's the way it's probably going to shake out, unless they, want to make some concessions. I'll agree with Jim. I kind of doubt it, but we need to ask the questions.
Well, I understand that, and we've done these things in the past, and we've allowed this. But since it was brought to our attention by Jim, and that these were better methods of doing it with arbitration and this, and that we wanted to watch out for that kind of thing, I think that we need, we learn. We don't always do the same thing that we did before. And personally, I feel that there's not a deadline on this, and that we can wait and get this in order before we decide.
But to my way of thinking, Tom, if our concern is such that we don't want to move forward with this, why are we sitting back and allowing taxes to still be collected in this form? Jackie has indicated that there's been no problem in the past. Jim has told us that he feels that our liability is minimal at best. At least that's the way I understood it. I have no problem with moving forward with this, rather than tabling it and sending a mixed message, as it were, that we don't trust this impending action, or we're going to allow action to move forward that we're already engaged in. I think that I trust that council's going to take a look at the contract, and that between him and Jackie, that any of our concerns are going to be answered. So I have no problem with moving forward. I'd rather not table it and send what I would consider a mixed message.
From my perspective, I think that language can be more favorable, which is probably not good English, but more favorable to us in the sense, but it doesn't seem to me in my interpretation of what you're putting out there that the contract that they're providing us is hostile in any way. It's similar to what other companies are putting on par. Not that it just means that it's not completely favorable to us you know, and it's similar to what other people may expect of a.
There may be somewhere in the venue thing, I think is standard. It's not common to see a, say, denial of merchantability of the product.
Okay.
Now, maybe someone will point out to me that in all computer, say, software things, they do say that. Also, you know, they really limit the damages to it. They've got a pretty tight cap on the damages. So. But I think, I guess the thing of it is, if this were to find out for a month or 2 months, but Jackie should have a handle on this in a very short period of time, and we'll just, you know, a lot of times, sometimes a degree of risk is necessary, and we'll just see what it is. I just can't see off the top of my head where a lot of risk would lie in this matter. People come in, they pay it, you know, pay their taxes.
It should it's a matter of, within a matter of 24 to 36 hours, Jackie knows whether there's a problem.
And it's not a complicated transaction either.
No.
You just say, I owe $100, here's the credit card. Not like
They come back and they say, you know, that credit card didn't pass.
Any other discussion? I'll go to a roll call vote then.
Thomas Wood,
No.
Mark Nana,
Yes.
Michael Cashman.
Yes.
Do I agree with that?
Yes.
And Bernie Bassett.
Yes, resolution carries. We will get all questions responded to and resolved before it's signed. That's the last item I had on the agenda. I don't believe we have any other formal business at this time, so I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So
Mr. Renner, do we have a second?
Second.
Mr. Wood, any discussion? Roll call on the motion to adjourn.
Thomas Wood,
Yes.
Mark Nana,
Yes.
Michael Cashman,
Yes.
Gerard Rumsey,
yes.
Bernie Bassett.
Yes, we stand adjourned at 7:45 PM.